the Women's College acknowledges the traditional owners of the land on which we are recording this podcast, the Turrbal and Jagera people of the Manjin region. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and recognise that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are Australia's first storytellers, communities and creators of culture. We recognise their continuing connection to the land and the waters. Welcome to Voices of Influence, a podcast brought to you by the Women's College within the University of Queensland. I'm your host and producer, Tess Feller. Our episodes are designed to ignite inspiration and empower young adults. Tune in for engaging discussions with diverse professionals who share actionable insights to navigate early adulthood. Welcome to our 6th episode and final for the year. Today we're honoured to have Tatum Stewart, a standout Hockeyroo. Tatum recently competed in the 2024 Paris Olympics with her team. In this episode, we'll explore her journey to becoming a professional athlete, the key influences that shaped her career, and the honest truths about being a professional female athlete. We'll also discuss how her success and that of other female athletes are changing the perceptions of women in sport, the importance of visibility for young girls, and her advice for balancing life while pursuing dreams. Plus, we'll hear about what's next for Tatum and the legacy she hopes to leave. Welcome, Tatum.
Hi, it's so nice to be here.
I'm very excited to be having an Olympian on my podcast. I don't really know what to do with myself. Pumping your tyres. So, just before we get into the nitty-gritty, I'd like to ask you for maybe a recommendation for our listeners.
Ooh.
Yeah, do you have anything you've been reading, watching, listening, anything like that you think others would enjoy?
Yeah, so I'm actually a big reader in my spare time. So when you're away on tour playing sport, you have a lot of downtime, but you can't do a lot. So I like to read, and I just started reading Throne of Glass, which is Sarah J. Maas. I read the whole ACOTAR series and ate it up. So yeah, ACOTAR, give that a try. Court of Thorns and Roses, or Throne of Glass is proving to be just as good. So yeah, give that a read.
Fun, and it's a bit of fiction.
Yeah. So it's like fantasy romance, like
perfect. A bit of lighthearted reading.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, great for some in between time in all of your athletic things.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I guess I just wanted to start by you sharing your journey to becoming a famous Hockeyroo and what led you to pursue a career in the professional sport realm.
Yeah, so it actually probably all started with my dad. So he swam for Australia when I was younger. He went to the 1986 Commonwealth Games. So I pretty much always wanted to be an athlete, just being around him, having all his memorabilia in the house and the way he talked about his career when he was swimming. I just thought that is the coolest thing ever from literally like the age of 4. I got into swimming, did heaps of sports, but got into hockey through the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne in 2006. My family went down because my dad was alumni. We got some tickets, and funnily enough, my brother actually was like, I want to play that one with the stick and the ball. So when we came back to Queensland, that's where we ended up. I was 4 at the time and I started playing. As the story goes, it's a bit of like, Tatum Stewart lore. Like you have to know it for everything to make sense. But I hated hockey to start with. I'd kick and scream and cry and throw a tantrum. And Dad used to drag me onto the field, quite literally. Until one day an Olympian Hockeyroo came over and was like, hey, like chill, like here's my medal, like just calm down, like you got a picture. I'm like 4 years old toddler cracking up, and I just like lit up. I was like, I want that shiny medal, I want that thing. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. I was like, that's it really. I want to go and win some of my own of those. And yeah, as I grew up, played heaps of sports, but hockey was the one where most of my passion lied. I just loved it so much. I probably had my closest friends there. I'm a very social person, so as much as I was doing a lot of competitive swimming, I wasn't able to talk as much. It's hard to talk underwater. So yeah, hockey was definitely where it went. And when I was in high school, I had a lot of teachers that always encouraged me to continue to do that on top of all of my studies. So because of the support that I had from my family and my teachers, I really thought, yeah, this is something I can do. Went to Brisbane, started training with the Queensland Academy of Sport, and yeah, the rest is history.
So you set that eye on the prize.
Yeah.
And there you go. Then you went to the Olympics. So pretty impressive. And it's beautiful that your family had such a big impact on where you wanted to go in life, and then because of the support you received.
Yeah, 100%.
You could achieve your dreams.
Yeah, so grateful for that.
Yeah. And then I guess was there any key moments that, apart from when that Hockeyroo showed you her medal, that you were like, yes, this is me?
Yeah, well, that her name was Angie Lambert, and she is a Toowoomba girl, which is where I'm from. And a few years down the track, she reached out to myself after making one of my first Queensland rep teams when I was 12 through school. Asked if I want to do some coaching, and so I think that was a pretty key moment, because I was like, okay, wow, I met her once and now she still cares and now she knows who I am, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh my God, big fangirl moment. But yeah, probably the biggest one for me, to be honest, was in year 12 with one of my maths teachers. I was looking to study med at uni, but I sort of spoke to her and said, it's going to be too hard. It's going to be too hard to do med and hockey, and I don't know what to do. And she sort of said, well, just do hockey. And I was kind of like, oh, it's not that simple, Dr. Hill. It's pretty hard to, go on and play for Australia and make the Olympics. And she said, oh, well, everything's hard. Whatever you pick will be hard. You just have to do the one that you want. And I kind of went, oh, she's so right. It was a bit random, but yeah, I think about it all the time. Probably without that, I may not have fully committed myself to hockey. I may have ended up doing med, come to uni, and then gone, oh, it's too hard, I'll give up hockey. Who knows? So yeah, really grateful for her to sort of just kind of open her eyes a little and go, whatever you end up doing, you care about it, it's going to be hard, so you may as well do what you want to do the most. Yeah. What
a beautiful sentiment, and how funny it came from a maths teacher as well. You wouldn't expect that, maybe from your PE teacher or something, but that almost makes it a bit more special. You're like, oh wow, they're preaching here. Yeah, shout out to her. And then, do you think with the success of female athletes such as yourself and your team and all of the other Australian Olympians in the Olympics, Commonwealth Games, etc., do you think this is changing how society views women in sport?
100%. Yeah, I think I was sort of talking to my friends about it the other day when they were asking me about the Olympics. I think in Australia, so just focusing here first, it's so clear that we are a sporting culture country. We love our sport, and I think off the back of obviously the Matildas World Cup campaign, it was just so obvious that people don't really care whether it's men or women. They just want to watch sport. They just want to be involved. They love it. They love the Australian sporting scene. They want to go and watch. And I think that was the perfect catalyst right before the Olympics to kind of go, doesn't really matter. If people and women are playing sport at the elite level and they're good at it, then why wouldn't you want to watch that? So yeah, particularly in Australia, I think that scene is just blown off the charts in the last couple of years, particularly the last 12 months. But yeah, even overseas, I've found with hockey in particular, we actually get more numbers at our games than the men do, and I actually couldn't tell you why, but yeah, I think it's so exciting that people don't really care anymore. If it's a good game and it's good sport, it's changing the way that it looks now, but it's also changing the way that it's going to look for young girls growing up. And I played cricket growing up as well, and I made a few Queensland teams, but I literally had to wrangle my friends together to get a club team. And we were the only all-girls club team at the time, and you look at it now and there's all-girls competitions, and there's the Big Bash has just blown off the charts. And yeah, I think it just shows the growth is there, and it's just getting better and better, and it's so cool to see that we're having an impact, not just now, and for those of us now, we're creating our own change, but we're creating change for the future. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, I think it also comes back to community, right? Australians love community. I mean, nationally, we love community, and creating something that everybody can share, and sport is such a part of that. We create sporting communities wherever we go, AFL, cricket, hockey, so yeah, I think that is what it maybe even comes down to as well.
100%. And being from Toowoomba, which is a regional sort of town, wouldn't call it rural, not that far, but definitely regional. So lucky to be playing sports that had really tight-knit communities, or else genuinely I don't know what type of athlete I would be. Like, I was so lucky to be surrounded by, like, some of my best friends were in opposing teams, but we were together every weekend, so it didn't matter. And I'm so lucky to have had that growing up.
Yeah, and do you think it's the same for all sports, or do you think you just got lucky with hockey?
I do think to some extent I got lucky with hockey. I feel that, especially with women, I think people may or may not know that for men and women in Australia for hockey, like, our equity is probably one of the better sports, I would say. Our pay for the men is the same at the elite level. In terms of grassroots opportunities, it's exactly the same. There's the same pathways, like, in terms of you play states, you play nationals, and the nationals for girls and boys are held at the same time and in the same place. So, yeah, it's all, like, dead even across the park. And I think for other sports, like, in particular, it's hard with, you know, potentially, like, more male-dominated sports like rugby and AFL and cricket that are now starting to get that interest with women over the past, like, 5-10 years. But, yeah, when I was doing grassroots, I played grassroots with the boys. My Minky mod teams, like under 8s, under 10s, was with boys, so mixed teams. And the finals, like grand final weekend in Toowoomba, like, and for everywhere actually, for hockey in Brisbane I've experienced the same, and in Perth, it's the same weekend as the men. It's like one game after the other. They switch each year, like the women play in the main turf one year and then the men will play on it the next year. Like, it's so equal. Like, you can't really find a fault in those sorts of communities for hockey, I've found. And as I said, I've got an experience with cricket and it was not the same at all. Like, we played on the second field every single week. We never played at a main stadium or field for finals. Like, the men, even in the women now, the women play at Allan Border in the National League. They play at Allan Border for their finals and semi-finals. The men play at the Gabba. Like, there's small differences and we're getting there across the park, but I do tend to think a little bit with hockey, like, I got lucky that I ended up in a sport that has that equality there. Because neither of my parents played, so no one in my family played. If anything, I can give thanks to my brother that he wanted to play, or else I wouldn't be playing.
He wanted the ball and stick sport.
That's it. So, yeah, I think hockey's really, really great for that. There are, like, nuances still, just like any sport, between the men and the women, but yeah, it is a good community for equality.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And would you say you have faced challenges, like being a female in sport, that has, not that hockey's been typically male dominated, but sport in general typically male dominated? What sort of stereotypes and challenges have you faced along the way?
I think the biggest ones, as I sort of touched on, like, especially now, are more those subtle ones. Like, it's for, as I was talking about with cricket, like the fields, like, you wouldn't really think about it that deeply, but when you do, you're like, oh, there's a difference there. And then even I did notice, like, for hockey in particular, like, one big one for me is when I moved to Brisbane, bigger competition, more teams, more fields. There's only one centre in Toowoomba, but there's more in Brisbane. The men always had, like, the prime time during the season, so they'd play, like, the 4 p.m. game and the 6 p.m. game, and the women had to play, like, the midday game and, like, the 8 p.m. game. And it's just those subtle differences that if you don't think about it, you wouldn't realise, but when you do, you're like, really? Like, are we still doing this? But yeah, I think one of the biggest ones that I've experienced across all the sport that I've played, and like I said, I did literally everything my parents were willing to drive me to growing up, including, but not limited to, Scottish dancing. But is like, to be honest, a lot to do with, like, training and body image. And I think I'm, again, like I say lucky, like, I'm so lucky that I had a family and parents that never sort of, like, thought or create an environment where that was a problem. Like, I always grew up where, yeah, you train to be a better athlete and you train for your performance, and, like, your body is a vessel and it allows you to do what you do. Whereas I've found, even at the elite level, like, some of my best friends in the national hockey team are afraid to lift weights because they don't want to look a certain way. And I just think that at the grassroots level is so ingrained in girls in general, like, social norms, that, you know, if you're an athlete, you look different to the way women are supposed to look. Whereas when you're a male and you're an athlete, those sort of aesthetics align with your athlete, like the way you should look as an athlete. So I think that's probably one of the biggest issues. And again, subtle, not necessarily like an institutional and organisational thing in terms of barriers, but I do think it makes a big difference with young girls, and why they choose to participate in certain sports or why they choose to stop playing sport altogether. Like, who knows how many young girls we've lost in sport purely because they're like, I don't want to look muscly, or I don't want to look that way, I want to look this way. Or, some of my friends even nutritionally are like, oh, I don't want to eat that. I'm like, but you need that or you're not going to be able to run fast. So that's just not an experience that I've found with any of my friends, my male friends that play sport or anything like that, at all. So I do think that's one of the biggest problems, and it's obviously a problem for all women, and men as well, having to conform to certain stereotypes. But I feel that it's a bigger mental barrier for women in sport than probably any other population trying to battle, I want to be the best athlete I can be, but I'm also supposed to look this way. So, I do think that's been one of the biggest ones for sure.
And do you think that's propelled by the media or the communities you're in?
Yeah, I think definitely the media. Even still, when you look at some female athletes, the ones that are mostly in the media are the ones that look super defined, super toned, and it's for instance, I don't look like that, but I'm still competing and doing the same things at the same level, and my body is still able to do the same things that they're able to do. I just don't look the same way, and I think that's the same with everyone. For example, Ilona Mayer, don't know if anyone knows her, huge on TikTok, USA Rugby Sevens player. She is man, I just love her. She's the biggest body positivity person you could find. Female athlete. She's so proud of who she is and how she looks, and I think you need more people like her to say I look this way, but I'm such an incredible athlete. So if we have more people like that in the media, I think communities are pretty good at it. I think, as I said, it's sort of brushed to the side sort of problem, it's maybe not addressed enough. If I didn't have my family, for example, who were my main catalyst for the kind of mentality that I have, it definitely wasn't talked about in any sporting community that I was in. So, the education around, proper training, doing what your body needs to do to be the best it can be, not look a certain way, proper nutrition, all that sort of stuff. Sort of only learned that as an athlete, for myself. Only sort of learnt that if it wasn't for my parents when I was entering a high performance environment, which is, it's scary. If I'm training all the way up to until I'm at the elite, and only just then I'm learning about what I should be doing to be the best I can be for my body and all those sorts of things. I think that's why there's more injuries in women's sport, because it's just not talked about. It's not encouraged, it's not addressed, whereas for guys it's get in the gym, start running, get fitter, all those sorts of things. Girls can do it too, but it's just not talked about enough. So communities can probably help more, but media could also change.
And we're not licensed health professionals or anything like that, but I don't know, listeners who may be struggling with body image because, they are playing a lot of sport, or even, everything you were just talking about, what would you say is your biggest piece of advice to them? So I think it sounds a bit cringe, but I think of my body as a race car. So it has to be conditioned properly or it's not going to run well. It has to be fueled properly, so food, or it's not going to run well. And obviously most of what I do in my life, my sport is my profession, is to perform the best that I can all the time. So I have to be, doing the right conditioning, whatever that is. That might include rest. Race cars have a pit stop. They've got to stop every now and then. So, it might be resting. It might be running. It might be a chill session. It's making sure I'm putting in the right food, and that includes food for the soul. So I always talk about, there's food for your body and there's food for the soul. Don't get me wrong. I eat chocolate pretty much every day. I couldn't live without it. So, I think the key is I think of my body as a race car. So in other words, put your body on a pedestal. It's, you've got it for life. Treat it the way it deserves to be treated. Whatever that is for you.
yeah, I think even if you're in a professional space, it's still a race car. You've got to get the right sleep, you've got to eat the right things, or you're not going to be able to show up to work the way you want to. So, yeah, that's how I think of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And also running your own race, I suppose. 100%. Yeah, you don't know what anyone else is going through and everything. So even with race cars, stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane. Yeah, exactly. Do you think that at a grassroots level there's more that we can do to break down the barriers that exist, apart from the media, I suppose, because we don't have that much control over it?
So as I was saying before, like, I think on the whole, obviously, my experiences with hockey were positive, but I do think more sports can adopt that same sort of approach, like mix your little leagues, like, you know, under 10s, there's really not that much difference between girls and boys unless it's like normal genetic differences. So mix that, you know, make it normal to have boys and girls competing with and against each other while it's still, you know, safe and appropriate to do so. Have those really strong communities, like, again, like I experienced in Toowoomba hockey, where it's built around that really like family orientated space. Everyone's welcome, every age. I think other sports miss that opportunity to really drive that as well as the competitive side, especially in club level. I think club level is where it is the biggest issue, which is where the grassroots starts. So, yeah, if you have that more mixing, mingling, and that community environment, I think that's like the breeding ground for success for girls and boys. I think the sooner you start to say, no, this is different, the sooner you start to create the separation. And if young girls and young boys and even parents and families and organisations don't start to make a shift there, then you're just creating that distinct difference really early. And for young people, that's like, oh, okay, well, I'm different. That doesn't necessarily mean less or whatever. It just means like I'm different. I think the longer we can be intermingled, the better for everyone. So, yeah, definitely adopting that like grassroots approach, mixing it as much as you can, educating as much as you can, you know, is the key for me anyway, my experiences. So yeah,
and hockey can do it, so everyone can do it. Exactly. All the sports can do it. And yeah, it's starting at the little leagues. Like, it starts from the grassroots and those when you're a little kid, being shown that yes, girls are as powerful and strong and capable as boys.
Absolutely.
Or females and males. But that's
my favourite thing ever was like beating the boys in the swimming race, just to be like, I'm better than you. And so, but like even that, it's like, why did I do that? I knew from a young age, like, I need to be better than them. So the more it's mingled, the more it's just like, hey, this is normal. Yeah,
totally. What role do you think then athletes such as yourself on a global scale, high performance, play for visibility and inspiring?
Yeah, well, I've always, like, one of my biggest sort of, like, I suppose, quotes that I've always coined is, if you can see it, you can be it. And, you know, I always, like, it's so funny how things are so full circle. Like when I was talking about Angie, that Hockeyroo before, like, without her and those pivotal moments, as I was sort of talking about Dr. Hill, like, who knows what I would have done with my sport or with hockey, like, who knows? And I think I sort of have that same sort of mentality now. Like, I love my home so much and all my sporting communities, not just the hockey, but I still am involved with my old cricket club and my old swimming club and my primary school. And I spend as much time in those places as I possibly can. Not for, you know, not for praise, not for anything, just to be there so kids can see, okay, hey, yeah, she's just a normal person. Like, she's done this really cool thing, but she's just one of us. And so I think, you know, it starts there, that visibility. Like, you don't know who you're going to impact when or how. So I do as much as I can, just literally to be with kids, be in front of them for whatever reason. They might want to talk to me about what they did at school, whatever. I think that's really important, just to show, like, if she can see it, she can be it. So, yeah, show kids that I've gone and done this really incredible thing and you can too. I came from Toowoomba just like you can do it. And yeah, I do think on, like, the global scale that extends as well. As we were sort of talking about, like, the Olympics, it's like the most incredible platform for Australians to see women succeeding. Like, most of our medalists were women, and, like, you know, I think maybe pretty much all apart from, like, a handful of our gold medals were women. So I think those sorts of platforms, and Australia is obviously a very powerful country. I think we came third in the medal tally. That also just shows to the world like what that visibility, putting people in those sort of positions, can do for not just women, because I think it goes beyond sport. It shows that we can do incredible things. But yeah, that we can do whatever we want if people give us the power to do so. So yeah, I feel really privileged that I get to be a part of that.
Yeah, and you, of how many, like, I don't know, you would have inspired so many little girls by being on that world stage on 9 News or whoever records it. Yeah, it's so full circle for you that one, like a Hockeyroo inspired you to begin this journey, and now you will be inspiring hundreds, I'm sure, if not thousands, of little girls. And as we were saying before, the Matildas, the world stage.
Yep.
Just Australia getting behind a team like that was groundbreaking, I think, for everybody. Like, it just showed that women, again, are just as capable and can rally a whole country just as an AFL team can.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
yeah, I think these small steps, even like most of the women getting those gold medals over the men, like all of these things are just going to add up. And as each year goes past, it's...
Yeah, and that's it. It's just the little things. It's just the adding up. And like I said, like sometimes it feels like you haven't come that far until you look back. And, you know, when I was talking about my experiences with cricket, I played an all-boys team for club for years. That was my only choice. Finally got an all-girls club team. And now I look back at it and there's like a girls club competition in Toowoomba. And it's like... You know, sometimes when you feel like there hasn't been much change, you actually just need to look and go, okay, no, there is change. And it's just those little things that add up over time, and it's going to keep creating these big differences.
And I guess that can be said for a lot of aspects of life as well. You know, sometimes when you feel stuck and just like, oh, okay, it's a bit Groundhog Day, it is nice to look back and be like, actually, I have achieved a lot and I've grown and I've changed. So, yeah, that's a nice sentiment to be, you know, spread for everything. And then also, this is a bit different, but I'm dying to know what the Olympic Village was like. Is it true you're on wooden beds? You like all of this? Tell me.
Yes. So the beds were made of cardboard. And the mattress was literally like foam. Like, I'm talking like, picture like stuff that they stuff your like packages with, like that styrofoamy stuff, but like obviously in a mattress kind of shape. So yeah, it wasn't like the best for performance, but every athlete's on it. So, you know, can't really make an excuse when everyone's got the same. What else? We had our own barista 24/7.
Which is important in Europe because the coffee is not good over there.
Which you'd think it would.
Yeah.
But it's not. So, yes.
Australian barista?
Yes. Josh and Rachel knew them very well. They got my skinny cappuccino every morning. Yeah, so, like, we were just so lucky. We had this amazing food set up in the Oz building, so we didn't even have to go to the dining hall if we didn't want to. All supported by Woolies, like it was all home products, which I also thought was like amazing that they're still supporting Australian businesses. What else? Like no aircon, or like little roll-in aircons. Like it's like not even kidding, like as high as a chair. Like
you'd think for these high performance people that you need a little bit of aircon.
Yeah, so
in the European summer,
a little portable aircon, which got us through.
It's like being back at college again.
Yeah, it was honestly like, you know, little dorms. Like you'd walk out every morning and say hi to all your buddies, and yeah, you know, the interesting furniture choices. But nah, it was so good, and the Oz building, like I was saying, like was just next level. We were so lucky, and like every athlete that came by, because you could. The village was huge for starters. Like there was little bikes to get around the village, so it was cool. We went on a little tour one day. But yeah, every like country you can sort of mingle a bit. You don't just walk into a random country's building, but our spaces were pretty open, so we had a fair few little visitors, and yeah, all the countries that came through were like, wow, this is amazing. We're like, yeah, well, you know, you want to be us but you can't be, so
you want to be Aussie.
Yeah,
perfect. And what was the atmosphere like at those games?
Oh, it was like, it's so hard to describe, and I hate to just say like it was amazing, but I genuinely don't know how else to say it. Like it's hard to put into words. I think the easiest way to sort of quantify it is like picture that the 10,000 best athletes in the world are in one place at one time and you're a part of it, and literally the whole world is standing still, either in like present or on TV, to like watch you do your thing. Like it's crazy to me still that like I was a part of that. And you know, hockey isn't the most popular sport in Australia, third most popular sport in the world in terms of participation numbers. So you know, it's definitely fun fact, it's definitely got a fan base, but particularly in Australia where we do have so many sports, hockey's just not one of those top tier ones. So when you're competing in a massive stadium that's full with like everybody just there to watch you, which isn't common for what we do when we play on home soil, like it's just the most incredible like rush. Like I remember singing the anthem for the first time at the Olympics, and honestly, thank God I was a sub. I was like off first. I cried like so much with joy, just because I was just so like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually here. I'm actually doing this thing I wanted to do, and there's the whole world is watching. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, the world does stand still for the Olympics, even if like, you know, the games are at 9 p.m. our time or 2 a.m. Like people get up and they go to the pub and and they watch it, especially for, you know, all the quarterfinals, grand finals. Pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Surreal experience. And do you think that coming off the Tokyo Olympics where, you know, it was fake crowds and fake cheering or whatever it was, could you feel the shift in the atmosphere?
Definitely. And having spoken to other girls in the team who'd been at Tokyo and even at Rio, they even commented on how, even compared to Rio, where there obviously was, you know, not normal Olympics, whatever you want to call it, non-COVID Olympics, how different it felt. And I think part of that is to do with potentially like off the back of COVID, so many people being grateful for, you know, what we have. Like we have the ability to go and watch sport and be a part of those things, so why wouldn't you when we didn't have it for so long? So they definitely spoke about this major shift in just like the appreciation and the love of sport in Paris compared to their other Olympic experiences. I think it was a really special place to be, and so many people commented on like how different this Olympics was compared to other ones, in the best way. So again, just so lucky to have been a part of it.
Yeah, I can see the smile on your face. There's no wiping it off. And on our walk over, you were telling me you were studying PE, teaching. You're obviously a professional hockey player, and you know you have a life. So how do you balance all of this? What are your secrets?
If I'm going to be honest, I think the important thing to know is that I am just like everyone else. I do sort of just...
You're just a girl.
Yeah, I'm just a girl. I just show up sometimes, and that's the best you get. But I think honestly that is kind of one of my secrets, is just literally showing up. And I think that's the same with when I train. Like I could have had the worst night's sleep because I had an assignment due the night before, and I know training's probably going to be terrible, but I show up with 100% of what I have to give that day. Like it doesn't have to be my 100% that is my normal 100%. It could be literally the 20%, but if I give that full 20%, that's the best I can do. And I think it's the same with like my uni and like work as well, and even like my friendships and relationships. Like they're so important, like for everyone, but especially when you do something like hockey where you're surrounded by some of your best friends all the time, but it's like a workplace. It's so important to make sure you make time for those other things. I literally just sometimes I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do the uni assignment. I just do it. I just show up and do it. It could be terrible, but I just do it. I think it's hard to say that that's advice, but to just do things. But I really just think sometimes you just have to go, this is what I'm doing, so I just got to show up and do it. But I could be cliche and boring and say that I'm super organised, but I just use Apple Calendar, just a normal person who uses Apple Calendar. I think honestly the art of just showing up, like I don't like the word discipline because I think sometimes that's like aligned with, you know, like really strict stuff, but I do just think it's the discipline to go like, I'm just going to do it. It's fine. It could be terrible, but I'm just going to do it. And I think that's gotten me through so many things with uni, in particular, when I'm also juggling other things. But even like those dinners where you're like, I really don't want to go tonight. I would so much rather just stay in my bed and scroll on TikTok.
Doom scroll.
Literally, it's that, nope, I'm just going to do it. Like, I know once I get there, it'll be fine. So, yeah, I think that's my advice is, like, if you're ever second-guessing something or you really don't want to do it, just, like, do those first 2 minutes or do that little thing, like the dinner. Okay, I'm just going to get out of bed and brush my hair. Okay, well, now I've brushed my hair, now I'll pick an outfit. Like, you do one thing, it compounds, and yeah, same with the uni assignment. I'll write 1 sentence. Okay, now I've done 2. All right, I may as well do a paragraph. Like, just start. If you start, the rest is easier.
Yeah, once you start, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's what I find. Just show up, just do it.
But do you think that this just do it mentality, and even when the going gets tough, you get out of bed and you do these sorts of things, do you think that is almost thanks to the community you find yourself in as well, and the people you surround yourself with supporting you?
Yeah, I think so. As I said, like, so lucky to be in, like, you know, have such a great family, such a tight-knit family. And yeah, as I said, my dad's obviously a big role model, and he was an elite athlete once. So I didn't really have a choice sometimes when I was a bit younger. He'd sort of be like, nope, you're going. As I said, the kicking and screaming when I was 4. Nope, you're doing it anyway. So, yeah, obviously my family. But, yeah, I think even, like, those communities that I'm a part of, like, I didn't even say this before. I'm digressing. But even some of those, like, extra rep, like, you know, when I was making Queensland teams, I'd have extra representative only invite type trainings in Toowoomba. I did all of those with the boys. Like, I was like 13, 14 and training with 18-year-old boys, and it terrified me. But yeah, as I said, I'm digressing. That's another example of why hockey's so awesome and equal. But even things like that, like, I really did want to go to some of those sessions. I was so scared, like, of the older boys, like, and you know, like that normal anxious feeling you get when you go to a new social environment, like from a social perspective. But because I had coaches and, you know, friends around me who were like, no, you'll be fine. And, like, people who believed in me, even when I definitely wasn't as good as the 18-year-old boys. Like, I knew, like, it'll be fine. I'm just gonna go. Like, it's not as bad as you think it is. So, yeah, I think because I was in those communities where it was all about you and your personal development, as we sort of spoke about before, stay in your own lane, like, you show up with the best that you can, and that's all people can ask of you. Yeah, because I had that in those sporting environments and at my school as well. Like, yeah, I definitely feel more confident being able to do that now and be like, yep, I can just do it because it's just an ingrained thing that I had. So,
And hockey, you know, as you've explained, seems like such a tight-knit community, and the equality is there and everything. But do you find yourself comparing yourself to other athletes or other people in your teams, or even like other sports?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anyone who says they don't compare themselves is lying. as much as you know, again, like, so I have so many quotes. Like, I'm such a quote person.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm going to write them all down and stick them on my wall.
They're not all mine. I definitely nicked them off Pinterest. But yeah, I'm such, like, I love, like, journaling and stuff. As I said, like, I love reading and those sorts of things outside of hockey in my free time to take care of myself. But yeah, comparison is definitely the thief of joy, which is where I was going with my quotes. But yeah,
I've seen that on Pinterest.
Yes, I told you I saw it on Pinterest. But you can't help it. Like, especially, I'm such a competitive person, always have been. As I'm obviously an athlete, but I literally can't help but want to win and be the best at everything. And I know that sounds very like okay, but it's true. Like, I wish I could dial it back, but I can't sometimes. Yeah, so when I see someone else doing something incredible, any sport, it could be my own sport, could even be like uni or something, I'm like, damn, like, I want that. Like, I can't help it. Or, oh, they're lifting more in the gym than me. Okay, well, I got to lift more. Or they're running faster than me. God, I got to run more. But then I think the problem is it's healthy to a point when it's like, especially in sport, when it's motivating you, like, yeah, okay, yeah, I want to be the best I can be. She's lifting more, I'm going to lift more, like, push myself to be better. But you also got to know your own limits and your own strengths. Like, you know, one of my strengths in particular in, say, the hockey space is that I am strong. Like, my physical strength is an edge that I have on not only my teammates, but, like, international competition. So in the context of a hockey game, for those that don't know, like, I can hit the ball a lot harder. I can throw, like, overhead balls, like, over the team, like, a lot further, those sorts of things. So, that's me, and that's my strength, and that's what I love about myself and as a player, and no one else has that. Like, that's special to me, and only I can bring that. So as soon as you start to compare yourself, and it's time to get that spiral rather than that healthy, I want to be better, I want to, be whatever it is you're doing, and set that bar. As I said, you got to know your own limits. Like, I'd be silly to think if I could go out and I want to run a 6-minute 2K. That's just not what I'm built for. So I'm setting myself up for failure.
Yeah, so it's knowing your own strengths.
Yeah, know your strengths, know your limits, and if you work within both of those, you're going to be better at whatever you're doing. And no one said you can't set hefty goals. Like, I'm sure if I trained really hard, I could get a better 2K time, and I'm sure my coach would like that too. But yeah, you got to know what you bring and why you're valued. And so when you start, and that's in any space, when you start comparing yourself to other people, like, I wish I was talking about body image before, I wish I looked like that. Well, okay, what do you like about yourself? What do you like about the way you look? There is something. I know where everyone's harsh on themselves, but there's always something that you do love. Or, I wish I was as loud and as confident as that person. It's like, okay, but people like the way you are. If everyone was loud, then it would be too much. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's finding your niche. Yeah, niches within the niches, I guess.
That's it.
Yeah, and I think, people with siblings would attest to the fact that, siblings, you can apply it here. Like, siblings have different strengths. I know when, my sister's just about to graduate and she got an early offer, which we're also proud of her for.
Yeah.
And then my brother goes, God, I have big shoes to fill. And I was like, I hope you said that when I graduated. You just, in all spaces, comparison is human nature. So you just have to find the things you love about yourself. And then that would come back down to mental strength. And, you say you do a lot of journaling and reading. Yeah. So what part do you think that plays?
Yeah, well, as I was saying, I'm really lucky the way it's just me. Like, I've always just been someone that's naturally motivated, naturally naturally knows what I bring to the table, so to speak. So I've never really been someone that's wavered in my self-belief and those sorts of things in whatever space I'm in. Like, I tend to know, that's not really my strength, when I'm in it. But, I do think as you get older, and as I said, you start to take on more responsibilities. Like, you become an adult, you become self-sufficient and self-functioning. It is so important to take time for yourself, and I've definitely been caught in times of fall where I've hit burnout. I've hit critical mass because I haven't stopped, or I haven't allowed myself to sit back and, as I said, avoid the spiral. I found myself in it, and then it's hard to get out of it. So I'm not going to pretend that I write Dear Diary every night. Sometimes it's just when I need it. Sometimes it's just drawing. It's just, I need to get out of my own head right now, so I'm going to write something down. It could be as simple as a to-do list, okay, I need to do this, all right, well, I'm just going to write it down. Get it out on paper, you'll feel a million times better. And it's the same with reading for me. I like to read a lot of romance and a lot of fantasy and that sort of stuff. It puts you in a whole different world. You're not thinking about your own. I love that. I'm such a diehard romance fan. So, I love reading about that kind of stuff. Have a hobby. If you've got a hobby,
find what brings you peace and joy.
Yeah, literally. And if it's your work, then great, good for you. But if it's not, then it doesn't mean you don't like your job, but find something else that you just do because you love it. If then no one can really take it away from you. If you do it because you love it and there's no one forcing you to do it, you're not getting paid, you might be, which is even better. But just do something for yourself, no matter what that is, because it'll be dividends in your mental health, 100%.
Look at you. You're basically a Pinterest board here, spitting out all these quotes. So inspiring.
It's terrible, but
no, never. I'm enjoying this. So what's next? You've competed in the Olympics. We talked about the bit of the Olympic crash, which you said is very real. What are your goals or aspirations moving forward?
Yeah, so right now I am dealing with we'll say it's not major, but it's not minor, so a bit of a medium knee injury. 6 weeks post surgery today, and 6-month rehab in total. So I'll be back to playing hockey late Feb, which isn't too bad. You know, if you do your ACL, you're out for like 12 months, so I've got it better than some. So unfortunately, I'll miss the National League, which started last week, which is called Hockey One, which I love because it's fly in, fly out, like AFL. Go to Melbourne one week, go to Sydney the next, play with the team. That's it. So yeah, sadly I'll miss that, which and you represent your state, who doesn't love playing for Queensland. But yeah, what's next? I'll be hopefully back in the national squad next year, off the back of my Olympic campaign, and then back playing international hockey, doing what I love, and eyes are on the prize for the next Olympics, really. We'll have a World Cup, just like any sport. Commonwealth Games, obviously there's a few question marks around what that's going to look like, so, you know, focus on what's solid, focus on what you can control. World Cup coming up, obviously they're always good to get medals at and perform well at. Bit of a benchmark competition, just like any sport.
Show your face.
Yeah, that's it. But the Olympics is the big one for our sport, and for those that don't know, unfortunately we got knocked out in quarterfinals this year, again, for the 6th time in a row, even though we topped our pool. And literally ask anyone in the hockey space, we were playing some of the best hockey the Hockeyroos have played in over a decade. So it was very devastating to have it finish that way. China beat us, they ended up getting a silver medal, so arguably we had one of the harder quarterfinals, but that's how the Olympics goes. One game and it's all over.
But what an amazing effort to get to the quarterfinals.
Oh yeah, it is, and that's it. Like, you have to, it's so weird to balance that feeling of, I feel like such a success but also kind of like a failure, but as I was saying before, you think about it and you go, nah, I just did this incredible thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, next Olympics, I've always said for myself, yes, I've always wanted to be an Olympian, but personally it's not enough. I want to be an Olympic medalist, so preferably gold.
Well, when you were 4 and you saw that medal, you know, you still have to get that medal so you can show those little girls.
Yeah, that's it. So that's
the
what's next for me. 4 years' time, but it'll go quickly, I've got no doubt.
Yeah, and you want to become a PE teacher as well.
Yes, yeah. So hopefully I'll finish my degree in the next year or two. Obviously balancing with hockey is hard. But
pending.
Yes, that's it. But I still study at UQ and they're great. They find a way to make it work all the way over in Perth. So yeah, hopefully I'll finish that and start teaching, which I honestly love doing. I love, whenever I've gone on practice, I've absolutely loved it. So yeah, the Olympic medal and the teaching degree, they're the two things on my bucket list. So yeah.
What an exciting future ahead. And what legacy do you think you want to leave in the world of sport?
I think when I think of my time growing up playing sport, and even now, what my sort of like legacy and philosophy when I do some coaching and that sort of stuff is, it's so much about the passion. Like, I want people to like think of me as a player and go, yeah, like she was just so passionate when she played. Like, on the field you could see it. And people have made comments before that every time they watch me play or see photos of me or whatever, like, I'm always smiling, and I think that's so important. And I was like that as a kid. You couldn't force me to do anything I didn't want to do, unless I was 4 and my dad dragged me on. But, you know, I just loved playing sport growing up, and I think that's the sort of legacy that I want to leave, is that, you know, love what you do and like, just love the game, love why you play, whatever it is. Yeah, it's just so much fun. Like, so lucky to do what I do. It's the funnest job in the world. It's serious sometimes, but yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah,
that's what I would like to impart.
Beautiful. And I guess it's true. Love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life.
That's it. Yeah.
So yeah, and I think even through hearing you today and like you've been smiling the whole way through, it's clear that you're so passionate and you do love what you do. So I have no doubt that you're leaving that legacy as we go. And then my final question for you is, who is the most inspirational woman in your life and why?
Probably a bit of a cliche answer, and I haven't spoken about her a lot, but definitely my mum. Like, yeah, she is one of the most passionate people I know, and I think that's where I get it from. Like, she's always just like having the best time and making people laugh and smile. And, you know, growing up as well, my dad did coaching, swimming coaching, so he wasn't the one running us to every single sport. It was always my mum, and she got me to hockey every afternoon, then drove me back for swimming training, then drove me somewhere else for athletics, and then somewhere else for cricket. And, you know, at the time you appreciate it, but you don't appreciate it enough, I don't think. And she made, you know, she was cooking muffins at like 9 p.m. every night for me to take to school, and, and still showing up on game day to cheer me on. So I think of that now, and I honestly just go, like, I'm exhausted going to one training a day.
I think about this all the time. How do mums do it?
How do they do it? And
they're superheroes.
Yeah. So she's just so incredible, and like what she gave to me growing up was like amazing. And so without her, I definitely wouldn't be not only the athlete but the person that I am. So as I said, bit cliche, but I want to give the way that she gives to others, so definitely her.
But not cliche, because it's like mums give so much and they do sacrifice a lot for their kids. So it's beautiful to be able to recognise them and be like, you know what, I'm the way I am because of you. So
100%.
Not cliche, just beautiful. And I guess that brings us to the end of our chat. Thank you, Tatum, for joining us. I can't believe I'm sitting next to an Olympian. I'll never get over it. But, thank you. I've loved.
No worries.
Loved
Thanks
chatting. No worries. And I also just wanted to say to all the listeners, this is our final episode for the year. I'm closing off in my role. So I wanted to say a big thank you for everybody who listened and tuned in. It's been hard work, but hearing all of your feedback and getting to talk to all these amazing professionals has been so worth it. So a big thank you to every listener. Bye. With a